Hey there, my sweet friends. I hope you are all well. Welcome back, or welcome if you are new. It's getting pretty chilly here in Southeast Michigan, so I'm very inspired to continue creating festive projects for the holidays, and so that's what we're going to do today. I'm working with these dies from Scrap Diva Designs, and I'm going to be with them for the month of November, so I hope that you plan to join me for further projects coming your way. And I am also working with my stash, and so we're going to create a pocket folio, and this has a great shortcut to get to the fun part. This is created with envelopes, and so we're going to get these beautiful generously sized pockets. We're mixing and matching all of these paper patterns, and so this is just a really fun way to batch craft or create for a craft fair if you are doing that. And I think that you could easily adapt this to any holiday or theme simply by changing out your pattern paper. So thank you so much to Erica for sending me these really fun dies to use, and I'll be coming to you with some more projects with these for the rest of the month of November. And now, before we get started on the fun part, I do want to take a quick second to thank the Tech Hubby for taking the very modest intro that I created myself for last week's video and really making it better and much more funner. And so make sure to leave Tech Hubby a little love in the comments for all that he does for our channel. If that sounds good to you, then stick around and we will make it together. So here are those dies that I mentioned from Scrap Diva Designs, and my focal point is going to be created with the Santa boot. And so this would have been the Santa boot mini album set. I am going to be creating the boot, and then I'm also going to use those sweet little bells from this collection, and then I'm also going to be using the snowflakes from the Snowflake Bow die set. These are going to be so perfect to create those really large focal images for our project today. I'm also going to be using this Mistletoe Lodge paper pad. I had this in my stash from last Christmas, and so this is a perfect way to get some use out of a previously loved collection. The envelopes we have, you may recognize if you joined us for our Halloween series, and so these are going to be a perfect way to get some extra use out of these too. And in fact, I have quite a few colors and sizes in my stash because I just think that they are so very versatile, and they really make a great shortcut to getting to the fun part, which of course is adding your pattern papers and all those beautiful trims and embellishments. So we're going to need 6 envelopes for this folio. 2 are going to be cut down into the pockets, and then 4 are going to be used for the pages themselves. And so what I want to do with this first one is go ahead and seal up that flap. I'm bringing in my paper trimmer for this because I want to create 2 pockets with each of these remaining envelopes. Position this right up to the 2.5 inch line. And see, we have our pocket here. I'm going to put this back into the trimmer with that open edge going outward, so that I can get a second pocket from this. So now I'll have 4 pockets for this quick folio. I think that's actually a very generous amount of pockets for something that is so easy and fast to make. And so what I want to do first is add my double-sided tape to the back of each of these. I'll set these aside, bring back in 2 of our envelopes, and I want to have these so that I can bring them to my scoreboard and add another score line that's going to give us the depth that we need for the items that we want to include inside. So you just want to line up that first score on one of the grooves on the scoreboard. I'm going to give it 1/4 inch depth. We'll do that for the second one. ahead and pre-fold on that score line. And then just reinforce that with the score tool. The remaining 2 envelopes we can go ahead and just seal up. This one is already sealed. So then what I want to do is come in here with that flap that I created. I'll remove the backing from that double-sided tape and then add a layer of my Tombow. Then I'm going to bring that corner to the score line that we just created, keeping it right alongside and even along the bottom. You want to do that for both. So now you have your 2 sections. I'm going to flip this first one over and add my double-sided tape here. We're going to join these 2 sections together. I considered adding a secondary piece of just black cardstock, but I did want to create the whole base using just the envelopes, so I decided to adhere these sections directly together. Of course, we want to continue with our 2 glue combo. I'm folding that so that I can get this corner added right alongside the score line. Press that into place very well so that you get a good contact. So now you have the pages adhered, and now we want to come in with our pockets that we created and add them as well. I pulled the backing off of the double-sided tape, and I'm going to run my Tombow here just inside. I'll add my pocket so that the cut end goes in toward the inside. When I add all the items into the pocket, they will be well secured when the book is folded over. And so this is just pretty easy. It's a matter of lining up those ends, keeping it straight and even. And so now we'll have a pocket here. I'm going to repeat that for the remaining 3 pages. So those pockets are all added, and we can begin to work with our pattern paper. So the envelope size to start with is going to be 7 1/4 by 5 1/4. And so my first layers of the paper that will go to cover the pages are going to be 7 1/8 by 5 1/8. I need that little bit of difference not only to give me a border, but to make it easier to slip that paper down into that pocket. And so I have created the pages here using those measurements, and I have added my adhesive only to the very top portion. And so that way I can slide that into that pocket very easily. I do want to continue working with my 2 glue combo. So I've got that double-sided tape there. And now what I want to do is bring this toward myself and then tuck that into the pocket, slide it over, and then adhere that with that little bit of border showing. This is going to make it very nice to slide things in and out of that pocket because you have that one full sheet of pattern paper there. And so I'm just going to go through that paper pad and mix and match these patterns in. So if I have an all over kind of pattern, I'm going to pick a geometric to go with it so that I can stack these up and they won't look too busy. I'm going to continue working along with my 2 glue combo, and you see when I'm getting all of these nice borders, that keeps all of these layers nicely separated. And so I want to do 2-page layouts that are the same, but if you are working with your stash and it makes sense to you to mix and match, you go right ahead and do that. It's more important to get through those papers so that you can make room for new ones. And this is something that I'm going to mention right now as I'm working along. You have to be very careful when you're working with these very directional patterns. So it would not make sense to have any of these birds going sideways or upside down. And so I'm just being real careful to position these so that I know everything is going in the right direction. And then I will add that same pattern for the pocket. So the pocket measurement is going to be 7 1/8 by 2 3/8. So now I've got my full page pattern on and then also my pocket patterns. I'm going to repeat that process to finish this set of pages as well. While I'm at it, I'm just going to go ahead and add my back page here. And so I'm going to get the pattern from the front and the back are going to be the same, just so that I have a nice consistent look. I was able to use the offcuts from this pattern to cover the inside of these pockets, and so that was a good frugal use of my paper. Now I do want to add my ribbon closure, so I'll just strap in some of this beautiful green plaid, pull off enough to tie a nice bow. That stick that in place with my double-sided tape. Open this back up. And then add my patterns for the front. So I am using that beautiful snowflake on charcoal along with a very sweet and low contrasting pine cone with some branches so that it doesn't compete too much with the pattern for our Santa boot. And so this is ready to go, and I have used the additional layers from that paper pad along with just some black cardstock and some glitter paper here to create the top of the boot. And so I really thought that this was a perfect way to get a large focal image, and then you can create many of them using your offcuts. So this is a perfect way to finish the front of this cover. And then also I'm going to use my 2 glue combo as I continue to work along. And now you can see how that beautiful red buffalo plaid is really popping off of that. and it makes such a nice contrast to the warmer, more muted colors in the background. That set did have some poinsettias, so if you wanted to create your own flowers, you could definitely do that. And I am today going to reach for some ready-made flowers just so that I can get this finished up quickly. And so I'm going to layer those jingle bells from the die set with some loopy twine bows and some more beautiful trim here from a really reasonable ribbon. And I've created an arrangement for the top and then also one here just for the bottom. Incorporating more of those jingle bells and then a snowflake from that bow die set just to kind of brighten it up a little bit. Just adding this with some hot glue so that I know it will be well secured, especially when putting this over glitter paper. You really need something to soak down into that texture so that you get a good contact. Before I finish up with the remaining details for the front, I do want to add a couple of inserts here. Now we have pockets, so of course we want to add something to them. And so I've created some inserts with more of that collection paper and then cardstock to match the envelopes. And so the cardstock here is going to be 6 high by 4 1/4 wide. And the pattern paper is 5 7/8 by 4 1/8. That way there'll be plenty of room to slide this into here. And then I have one for each of the pockets and they do match, but mix and match those if that's how you like it. And there's plenty of room here for some additional flat keepsakes and mementos so you can really load this up. And then I put the other set in this pocket. The contrast with the colors really helps to pop those out, and this not only adds a great amount of extra space to finish on the inside, but those added layers of paper help to make this much more thicker and more sturdy. So let's go ahead and tie this up. If it makes sense to you to add some of the pages without the pocket, that would be a good way to incorporate some larger pictures if you wanted to have the full size 4x6. I think that I just really like all those pockets to add all of the finishing details. So let's add a couple more embellishments for the cover. I'm just going to put one large charm here. I've got a pretty little reindeer. I put that on a string and I will add that with my hot glue. And then I'll top that cut string with a pretty little button. And then of course I do want to add a couple of sequins here just to bring some of the detail down onto this bottom corner. And so I'll add one on to the boot itself and then 2 down onto the base. And so that's going to be it for this little pocket folio. I did create an additional one here. I had some sage colored envelopes, and so I thought that would work for more of the naturey kind of patterns. And so this is going to be made with all of the same measurements and all of the same technique, but it just has a little bit of a different look. And so I have all of my pockets here with their inserts for each page, and then this one in the back. So I think you could easily adapt this idea to really any size envelope. Just make sure that you reduce the size of your pattern paper by 1/8 of an inch so that not only will you get a nice border, but it will be easy to slide that pattern paper into the pocket to get it positioned well. And so that is going to be it for our tutorial today. I sure do hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and check in the description for links for these dies from Scrap Diva Designs. And as always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye.